Hello, good afternoon. This is the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra, Love 99.5 in Kumasi. Affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including ATL and Castle FM in Cape Coast, also on Jubilee and Sun City Radio Keta. We're live on Twitter Spaces, Facebook live stream, and my Joy online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. Coming up, President Akufo-Addo calls on Ghanaians to support his administration to restore the economy to full health.
I said at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic that we do not know how to bring back lives, but we know how to bring back the economy. I stand by those words.
We have details as the National Chief Imam prays for peace to prevail in areas where conflict has left some persons dead and property destroyed.
The situation in Boko is of concern to us. We ask Almighty Allah to bring His peace to Boko.
We have details of that. Also, my victory is not just for the people of Asin North, but for the country and the rule of law. Words of Judge Kwesi moments after he was declared winner of the by-election.
The victory belongs to them. The victory belongs to Ghana. And the victory belongs to rule of law, justice.
Details as he indicates that his focus now is to develop the area, but the court is the least of his thoughts. Plus, hear from Peter McMahon, who is warning the NPP not to take voters for granted.
I think that you should not take the voters for granted. You should never underestimate the intelligence of the voter.
And later, social media feast as two former lovebirds, actor Yvonne Nelson and rapper Sarkodie, take their 13-year feud a notch higher, trading blame for Yvonne's abortion of their pregnancy, as revealed in her book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson.
I wasn't the only one responsible for the situation, so I called the man whose protein seed had germinated in me. His name is Michael Owusu-Addo, a renowned Ghanaian musician who is better known as Sarkodie.
Every word of that feud, blow-by-blow account here on the Midday News. Learn how this will impact their brands.
Let the clap for you, baby, you brave, but you can't pick and choose what to say, please behave. Or be on some out, so if you want to talk, you got to tell the water, big out the nigga, you.
We have details of that as well. Also, scores of passengers stranded on the Accra-Kumasi highway as two buses and an articulated truck collide at the Jasso section of the Kumasi-Accra road. These are more coming up on the Eid al-Adha edition of the Midday News. I'm Maame Thompson. Thanks for choosing us. We are the home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. And to our first story, President Akufo-Addo has urged citizens to continue to support government mandate in the ongoing effort to revive the economy. He indicates that his government will honor promises made to revive the economy. Speaking at the Eid al-Adha celebration, President Akufo-Addo expressed confidence in his government's ability to bring about significant progress in the nation.
Muslim faithful, fellow Ghanaians, in the spirit of Eid, I ask you to continue to support the government, your government, to deliver the needed progress and prosperity that we all seek. I said at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic that we do not know how to bring back lives, but we know how to bring back the economy. I stand by those words. Inshallah, we're working to restore the economy to full health. And inshallah, we shall do so.
The National Chief Imam Osman Nuhu Shaributu also showered prayers of peace to prevail in the protracted Boko conflict.
Your Excellency, the Imam says on this special occasion he commits the whole of the nation into the care of the Almighty Allah. Indeed, Allah has kept order in our country and given us peace. We ask him to enhance the peace and harmony. The situation in Boko is of concern to us. We ask Almighty Allah to bring His peace to Boko.
And that was national.
Our nation, Ghana, we ask Almighty Allah to keep intact our country.
The
two leaders that God has given to us, His Excellency the President and His Excellency the Vice President, we commit them unto the care of Allah. May Allah grant them His protection.
You heard National Chief Imam Osmanu Nuhu Shaributu there. Now, scores of passengers have been left stranded as two buses and an articulated truck were involved in an accident on the Draso section of the Kumasi-Accra road. A Metro Mass Transit bus and a VIP bus, all headed in the Accra direction, were involved. Some passengers sustained minor injuries as the Metro Mass Transit bus collided head-on with the articulated long truck. Listen to an eyewitness.
I boarded the bus from Kumasi. Our VIP bus was behind the Kufuor bus. The Kufuor bus that we were following slowed down in an attempt to avoid running into a pickup truck in the middle of the road with scores of people taking selfies. However, the Kufuor bus driver's brake didn't respond on two occasions. So the driver, in an attempt to swerve, hit a stationary vehicle, forcing us to also hit it from behind.
The LPG Marketers Association indicates some gas outlets in parts of Kumasi and in Koko have started recording shortages following a 72-hour strike by tanker drivers. Before then, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies indicated that more than 4,000 outlets across the country were going to run out of fuel because pump stations had not been refilled following the tanker drivers' nationwide strike over terrible roads leading to their depots. Though the Roads Ministry is scheduled to meet with the transporters Thursday, Union Chairman George Nyaunu says they will not back down on the action.
The strike is still going on. Just yesterday, immediately we called the strike. In the evening, the road and highway minister called me and said he's out of the country. So hopefully he will be in today. Therefore, he would like to engage us tomorrow being Wednesday, being the holiday. I said, okay, fine. As a honorable, we will give you that honorable respect. So anytime you are ready to meet us, we will call all the executives to meet you, to listen to what you have for us. But what we are looking for is only to fix the road for us.
Earlier, Love FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong gauged the situation in Kumasi and came through with this report.
The Kase-Bost Road in the Asokwa municipality of Ashanti region is riddled with potholes. Drivers, mostly heavy-duty trucks and petroleum tankers, struggle to maneuver their way around to leave the stretch safely. The association says the sit-down strike is to ensure roads in the petroleum enclave of Tema, Takrade, Kumasi and Buipe are rehabilitated. Ashanti Regional Chairman Edmond Baba described the road in front of the Kumasi-Bost depot as deadly.
If you look at the front view of our depot here in Kumasi, anytime it rains, it floods. And because the place is full of manhole, we are always afraid that when a vehicle is fully loaded and it happens to fall down there and there's an explosion to go into the depot, and you can imagine the number of tanks we have there. We have about 8 to 10 tanks, all filled with fuel.
The drivers say they are aware of the implications of their action, especially shortage of petroleum products, but believe an explosion could lead to loss of lives and property. They want government to consider their concerns as a national priority. For Joy News, Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
Well, Chief Executive Officer of the Oil Marketing Companies, Kweku Ajimendua, said many fuel outlets were on the verge of running out.
Oh, definitely you run out. If you run, because normally what we do is we do replenishment on Mondays. And this Monday we never had the opportunity to do the replenishment for the weekend stock, which has been depleted. So then midweek, Wednesday, we start also doing something. And then Friday we get something for the weekend. Now we are going past the Monday one, and it means it's the whole stock that we have that we are depleting, and we are not replenishing the stock. So we are going 48 hours down. By the time we hit the 72 hours, it becomes so crucial. That's why you get to station so that there's no fuel. People should no fuel, and that's what's going to happen. And then when you get to the stage, even getting some people to buy fuel becomes a problem.
Well, let's go on the phone lines now and speak to Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumi, who's been monitoring shortages in some areas in Kumasi. Mr. Kumi, which areas have you been to and what's the situation there?
Thank you very much. I've been to a gas station at Kentinkroni in Kumasi. Already there are queues there. I've also been to one and I've seen a lot of queues there. On Monday, I did predict that by Wednesday, if this situation is not resolved, we will start seeing queues in the outlets. And if this should prolong to Friday, we are in for chaos. And even the petrol stations. I mean, I've had the opportunity of speaking to some of the oil marketing companies, and the stock they have cannot take them more than 24 hours. So if the situation persists, by Friday, which is also leading into a weekend, we are likely to have a crisis on hand.
Well, Mr. Kumi, exactly, were you able to, get the amount which is left in these stations, maybe the quantities they have left, and how much they need to give to their sell to their customers?
Yes, the one at Kenton Corner tells me that by close of today, they will run out. They have just about 10 tons, which looking at the pressure coming on them, they are likely to run out by close of today. I'm not able to really go into details as to how much fuel each of them are having at the moment, but it tells me that whatever fuel they have, because of pressures coming on them, whatever fuel they have cannot run for more than 24 hours. So by and large, by Friday, we should be in for a very serious situation. And if nothing is done before Friday, Friday we will be entering into the weekend. It means if this should travel beyond Friday, our nation is in for trouble. And we are already going to deepen the already worst economic condition we find ourselves. But, this is something that must be resolved immediately. The demands of these drivers, the legitimacy of the demands of these drivers can never be questioned. This is a legitimate demand that must be fulfilled. I'm sure we are done with our by-election at Senate. Let's divert all attention and all resources to these roads and fix them so that we can get our lives back at a normal state. I mean, as much as this strike is hurting the oil marketing companies, we believe that the drivers are making legitimate demand that they might be supported to get this thing fixed once and for all. So we don't get another October 7, 2017 on hand.
We're grateful, Mr. Gabriel Kumi, who is Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association. Now, NDC's victorious candidate in the Asin North, James Jachikwesin, says his victory in yesterday's by-election does not belong only to the people of Asin North, but for the entire country and a representation of the rule of law. After weeks of intense campaigning and an ongoing legal tussle, Mr. Kwesin emerged victorious in the by-election and pulled a total of 17,245 votes to beat his closest contender, Charles Opoku, who garnered 12,630 votes. Before we hear from him, this is a wrap of events put together by my colleague Pakwesi Shandoff.
This is not Kumewu. We took Charles Opoku's money and spent it, but we did not vote for him. These were chants from some jubilant voters in Asin North after the NDC's James Jachikwesin was declared winner of the by-election, which many pundits and connoisseurs have described as the most keenly contested by-election in the Fourth Republic. The exercise started in the early hours of Wednesday morning with hundreds of voters queuing to cast their ballots. Despite strong assurances of thorough security preparations, there were minor disturbances, including the arrest of an imposter who was clad in a military uniform. This, however, did not distort the flow of proceedings, which was generally described as peaceful. Amidst the process, National Communications Officer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Sami Jemfi, expressed confidence in his party's victory. According to him, the MPP's candidate was no threat at all, describing him as a political prostitute. But he was not the only one oozing with optimism. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entry-Boisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi, was equally confident about victory.
About 400 catch them said Nipa 26,000 now to Sisia.
26,000.
Sisia Minoka say.
You did say.
At the moment, the angels have told me that about 26,000 people have voted, out of which the NPP already has 16,000 of those votes.
Yeah, number 16,000.
But after all the results from all the 99 polling stations were received, it was the NDC's James Dechikweson who emerged victorious with a total of 17,245 votes, representing 57.56% of the total votes cast, with Charles Sopoku of the ruling New Patriotic Party garnering 12,630 votes, representing 42.15% of the votes cast. Sefenu Bennett Enyonam of the Liberal Party of Ghana managed 87 votes, representing 0.29% of the total valid votes cast.
We can now listen to James Dechikweson saying his victory is not for the people of Asin alone, but for the country and the rule of law. He spoke to my colleague Richard Kujunyako.
I've always been happy because Asin our people have vindicated every court and myself, and they still believe in me, so that makes me happy.
What does this victory mean to you personally? The lessons to be shared to the whole world?
Well, I mean, principles and values I work with, and I don't quit easily. So long as I know the cause I'm leading is genuine and it benefits other people. You see, you haven't been in a situation where you have to sacrifice your own life interests for the benefit of others. Until you are there, you will not understand it. Somehow you get an inspiration and you become fearless because you are standing for the truth, you are standing for justice, you're standing for almost everything that benefits other people other than yourself. That is why we have people like the Kwame Nkrumahs and we have people like the Mandelas. All right? Otherwise, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to be in that position sometimes.
Also, General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, on his part, said the victory of the NDC in Asin North is a signal for Ghanaians that they are tired with the NPP government.
It's a signal that the country is ready to do everything possible to stop a number of things that are going on. I mean, the destruction of the economy, the destruction of the moral fiber of the country, the perversion of our institutions, the weaponization of institutions to destroy truth and justice. I think a number of things are at stake, and the people of Ghana are signaling that enough is enough.
But NPP Director of IT, Eric Ntori, indicates that although the party lost, it will go back to the drawing board, make amends, and return in 2024 to snatch the seat.
Look at our preparation and everything. It's been good. And this is elections, and it didn't go well for us, but it doesn't matter that we lost it all. I think we'll go back to the drawing board, prepare again, and come back in 2024 and make sure we can snatch the seats again.
Meanwhile, former national chairman of the NPP, Peter McMahon, wants the party to solidify its gains and protect its votes in the strongholds and not take voters for granted ahead of the general elections.
We need to do an assessment of what went wrong there, because we looked at the previous figures in the previous elections, and those were key areas that we lost. So we tried to send a different message to those areas. I mean, basically, they are farmers, they are occupation, cocoa farmers, rice farmers, and foodstuff farmers. So what must have affected their level of production, their level of occupation, that our message did not send across properly. We need to interrogate that, and we are going to do that. What has been the general infrastructure? And mind you, Asin North is a new district that was created very recently. Their capital, Breku, what kind of infrastructure has the government been able to put out there? High school, hospital, roads, etc. All these are things that voters will look at and then will be emotionally satisfied before they cast their vote. And it will be our duty to also protect the votes that they cast for us. So we look at our strong areas, try to consolidate our gains and protect our votes, and then try and send a strong message that will touch the heart of the voters in our opponents' strongholds so that we can win them or break it in those areas. That was the strategy. I think that you should not take the voters for granted.
You heard former national chairman of the NPP, Peter Maame. We can now go on the phone lines and speak to my colleague, Ohiming Teria, who is still in the Assin North constituency. Ohiming, yesterday was quite busy in the constituency. What's the situation today? Ohiming, can you hear me?
Yes, Maame, I can hear you now. It's been jubilation, celebration upon celebrations for NDC supporters here in the Assin North constituency. Some of them I have been spoken to tells me they spent all night in jubilation over the election of the MP for the area, James Jache Kwesi. Let me speak to some of them who have just returned from a mini victory rally organized by the constituency executive. Mami Misa say, "Enura say na osi dae."
No, mi di matade ni na dae. Mi da kom kwa mi nimu se mi da kom. Mi jenu ebru duani amedipu. Enti sikana yedi no jaso poku sikano. Na ni papa si ni hu ni mfaso no. Na odi ni sika be cheye. Yedi ni free.
So he tells me he went to bed in his NDC paraphernalia. He wears a NDC t-shirt, a flag, a muffler, and even in NDC shoes. So he went to bed with all these NDC colors. Let me speak to one other supporter here. Say, and I know I'm going to be a moody, mo a war, the so.
Yenyaji pa nkunim deni de ye NDC for no yenimse ye beti nkunim e wa abatwa ye betua ma e papa Jache Kwesi no yenimse ye beti nkunim nti enu ade ye ni agi angasa ye ni agi pa
eti fi na ku say na pusi afaso akire mo ani je wa nkunim dia mudi ye
eni je ne de egusa ye agi ye ni nti ena so ye egusa ye agi ye ni nti eni je ne de uma ye beji ye ni sa.
Okay, let me say to this supporter too. You are clad in your NDC paraphernalia. Dear Intina, I'm a near Diablo, so I tell you,
your mamma near Diablo, so pa, mammy, who you say, Papano, and Mela will need our core parliament. Or my to Chile, Serenia Bassa.
You're still listening to the Joy Midday News on Joy 99.7, brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. And you've been hearing President Akufo-Addo call on Ghanaians to support his administration to restore the economy to full health. Also coming up later. Social media feast as two former lovebirds, actor Yvonne Nelson and rapper Sarko, take their 13-year feud a notch higher, trading blame for Yvonne's abortion of her pregnancy, as revealed in her book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson.
Imagine say water wake up at dawn, no bath, no chop, where it vanish for your area for 2 weeks. You not get one drop safe inside your tank.
Hey.
Haja, our life was in dangerous. Only our neighbor gets water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank gets meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selenium. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe, so say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! As my boss, Mr. Poncho, go talk.
Beautiful, durable, with water level indicator and accurate volume of water. Water tank. What a tank. By Duraplast.
Have you noticed that Ghana has suffered lack of attendance at stadia across the country in recent years? Well, the Multimedia Group wants to be part of the solution, which is why we're calling on you, our dear listener, to help us. Our sister station, Nhyira FM in Kumasi, has been on a nationwide campaign to identify factors influencing poor patronage of Ghana Premier League matches. This campaign has been widely discussed on traditional and social media since the beginning of the year. And after widespread stakeholder engagement, we have a list of questions in a survey that will help us come out with a communique based on science and data, and we need you to assist by completing this survey. The link to the survey is bit.ly/PhilGPL questionnaire. Once again, bit.ly/PhilGPL questionnaire. Please help Nhyira FM and the Multimedia Group complete the survey in order to have a scientific response to this national problem.
Welcome back. Now, some girls in senior high schools often dread choosing science as a course of study due to their perception that it is a difficult subject. Assistant Headmaster at Accra Girls Senior High School, Sebastian Adama, says though the grades of these students from junior high school prove the ability to study science, they often harbor fear. Speaking on the sidelines of AIMS Ghana's Africa Science Week, he acknowledged the need to whip up interest among students in the field.
In a number of schools, science students are deprived the opportunity to take practical lessons in science education. This may be attributed to inadequate laboratory equipment for the practical lessons. Mr. Adama explains what pertains in other schools regarding practical science education is not different to Accra Girls SHS.
When they came, some of them came with good grades to offer science. And then they've come back to come and change their course from science to other areas. And you could just see that it is not that they can't do it, but there's some particular fear in them. But most of the things they read. Even if they do the practicals, their numbers, we don't get them to have it as it is going to happen here.
Through the next Einstein Forum's African Science Week celebration, students of Accra Girls SHS were granted practical skills using Dext Technologies Science Set. Girls in the first year science class got the opportunity to perform about 80 experiments from diverse fields of study. Project coordinator for AIMS Ghana, Priscilla Sewajesi, is calling on other senior high schools to support the program to expose students to practical science education.
Because we came here because the school accepted for us to do here. So we plead that for other schools, it's just an opportunity. We don't take anything from you, we just need your involvement and the availability of your students. So get them involved for us to let them know the practicality of the science and STEM we've been talking about.
The African Sciences, AIMS, with the support of Henry Luce Foundation, is rolling out Ghana's edition of the program. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
And now there's been an explosion overnight. Guess where? On social media, as two former lovebirds, music producer and actor Yvonne Nelson and rapper Sarkodie, take their 13-year breakup pain a notch higher. My colleague Jacqueline and Soma Yeboah is keenly following the pair as they trade accusations over their bitter past and captures it all in the following report.
The two are trading blame over their 2010 pregnancy, which was later terminated. Sarkodie played to her strength rap to respond to Yvonne's blame for the situation, captured in her new book, I Am Not Yvonne Nelson. This extract is read by an actor.
I wasn't the only one responsible for the situation, so I called the man whose protein seed had germinated in me. His name is Michael Owusu-Addo, a renowned Ghanaian musician who is better known as Sarkodie. I called him on the phone and said we needed to talk. He still lived with his mother, and this was not the kind of news to break in the house. I sensed the intensity of his emotions when I broke the news to him. I could hear his heart pounding, and when he finally found his voice, he faltered. His message was, however, unambiguous. He didn't want the pregnancy. That would damage him and his career. The only option was to get rid of it. I was still wondering if the man whose name I bore was my father. How was I going to bring another human being into this world to live like me? Someone whose father would reject him or her as Mr. Nelson had rejected me? If there was a way to spare someone else the trauma I was contending with, why will I reject that option? Especially when I was not psychologically and emotionally prepared to be a mother?
It took Sarkodie 10 days to respond, and when he did, it was some style. A signature rap song released to his Twitter handle in the wee hours of the night, denying Sarkodie's story outright.
Stuff. Let me clap for you, baby, you brave, but you can't pick and choose what to say, please behave. Or be on some out, so if you wanna talk, you gotta tell the world every other nigga. You can't just play the victim and paint a picture like you were just looking for love. What time is when you man, I'm the one to be blamed. Okay, of course, I thought that you were trying to start another drama. I'll be boy from the street, I know the game. Yes, I wasn't ready, but then I told you to keep it. What time is school, I woke up, you gotta complete it. To be very honest, till today I don't believe it.
Well, that's a report by my colleague Jacqueline and Sumayabwa. But what will be the impact of this war of words have on the brands of the two stars? Joining us now is Dr. Ike Tando, a brands communication expert. Dr. Tando, help us answer this question. Surely their brands will be affected. Will this be positive or negative?
I think at the end of the day, the overall net effect won't be healthy for both brands.
Right.
Looking at how, yes. Sorry,
please go ahead. Dr. Tando, please go ahead.
Yes, I was thinking that at the end of the day, the net effect of all that they are doing wouldn't be very healthy for both brands. And that hurts me because those two brands are the brands I also enjoy. Ghana should also enjoy. They are also putting the name of Ghana in their respective disciplines. And they are helping Ghana shine. So waking up in the morning and then reading a book and then coming up to this morning and then reading another rap line full of punch lines and insults, I don't think it is very healthy. It will be very healthy at the end of the day for both brands. Quite unfortunate.
Well, in this situation, how should both parties manage the communication?
I think that there are things that I always say to my students and to everybody who I encounter who wants to build a brand that will last. Think beyond today. Think beyond what you think that culture or the fans are expecting. And then look at yourself in the next 10, 15, 20 years and the kind of associations, the kind of things that you want to do aside rapping or aside acting. And if you allow your followers, and then social media has a way of letting people do things that probably I would say that maybe when they sit back and then take ice water and drink, they wouldn't have done it. But because people are pushing you, if you're not very careful, you would run to join the narrative. But I say this thing, that people cannot change, brands cannot change perceptions that communities or societies would have about them. But what useful brands should do is to make sure that you control the narratives to your benefit, to your greater benefit. But you don't control the narrative because you want to please your fans or your audience. And then they ask yourself, who are you? Why am I communicating? What are my brand values? What do I want to achieve with my brand? What is my brand purpose? If you have a deep understanding of these things and a deep projection of how far you want your brand to travel, you would be very careful with anything you put online, anything that comes off your mouth. And my advice would be that any brand that want to be there and then last forever should be mindful of what they say. And anytime you want to pick a pen or you want to pick a microphone to speak, ask yourself these three questions. Why am I communicating? To whom am I communicating with? How do I want to communicate? And what do I want to achieve?
Right. Thank you so much. And Dr. Ike Tando is a brand communication expert. Ending the bulletin. Well, you can continue the discussions in your homes. And this has been the Midday News. The news was live on Joy 99.7, sponsored by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank, where Duraplus goes, water flows. I am Maame Nyamekye Thompson.